It was my mother's family. Her grandfather, who was Walter Fike, came to Bisbee in 1894, and then they homesteaded here in 1896. And it was a dairy to start with. And it was one of the larger dairy. They had 50 people working for them. And then my mom grew up and then married my dad in 1952.
Okay.
And my dad moved to the ranch.
Nice. Okay.
And so, anyway, and then my dad bought the ranch in the late 70s.
All right.
From my mother's family.
Okay.
Well, I never had any doubt that I wouldn't end up on the ranch, but when Joe Beth and I got married in 1977, we lived in Phoenix, and I was in construction, and we'd come home on weekends and vacation and all that. And then we moved back in 1990, permanent, and been here ever since. My oldest one, he works for Game and Fish out in McNeil. And he's really involved with the ranch. And my middle kid in Phoenix, he's semi-involved, and my youngest is in Hawaii, so he isn't involved. We're going through the worst drought of my lifetime right now. That's one of the changes. That we had periods that didn't rain, but this has been a 2-year deal, and that's been hard. And you have to. Our border, our south fence, and that has been we've adjusted how we ranch because of the border. But the biggest challenge other than that is the federal regulations involved in doing any kind of work on the ranch. Environmentalists just hate any kind of improvement if there's a cow associated with it. Well, the ranch butts into Sprinka on the west end. And so they're looking at us all the time because we neighbor them. But anytime you have livestock, they think that they're endangered plants and animals. Any water that you try and develop, they didn't going to go into the river. And if you take it on your ranch, it's going to get there eventually, and we're improving it. But the regulations are stuff that you used to put in an application and be done the next week. Now it takes 2 years. And by the time 2 years comes up, you don't need it anymore. But that's been the toughest thing in my lifetime, dealing with bureaucrats and environmentalists. Everybody that ranches always had it illegal working for them. And they'd work 6 months and go home. And they didn't want to live here. And that all changed too. And they got 2 or 3 guys a week, and then it got 50 a day, but it's just evolved in the last 30 years. The problem with that is that people coming through make the cows move and scares them and everything else. And we sell by the pound. And then it makes them wild when they see people, so then they're harder to work. And we always prided ourselves in real gentle cattle.
I put the battery back in.
That's kind of out the door. So they're just harder to work on because people
Got the cow.
And and I commend Border Patrol, but they're just as bad. Driving through, they're on foot, but it's round the clock now again. Where it's eroding. Well, I had to sign a right of entry to the Border Patrol. That's my land for a detour, and I did. I'm not going to deny Border Patrol access, but it's a left-handed way to do it. So I don't know when they're going to finish that, if they will ever. But as far as the laydown area, that's all going to be put back in natural state.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
You better have a big bank account. To buy a ranch now, it's almost impossible because of the value of developers put on land and everything else. But if you really want to be a rancher, there are going to be good years, there are going to be bad years, and there are going to be a lot of okay years, but you're not going to get rich. The first year we fed big bales, 1,600-pound bales, and it's expensive. But the other choice is sell all your cows, and we're gonna do everything we can not to get rid of the cows.
And
The other part of it is that, like, the generation in their 40s, they did not want to put up with the work on a ranch. So they all moved to town. So when there's nobody to leave it to, they sell it. And that's where a lot of the conservation easements are coming from now. And they don't have any kids to leave it to, so they'll leave it to Nature Conservancy or somebody, and it won't be developed. But it ain't going to have cows on it either. So,
have yours.
and you know, then my dad, he's 95, he's still the boss, so